my name is Jack Hodgins, welcome back to my DJI channel, and I'm actually going to attempt now to repair the gimbal. I'm going to have to take the gimbal completely off the bottom because I was thinking about maybe putting some sort of clamp in there and bend it back, but it's a very tight space for it. So I'm going to have to strip it all down, so I'm going to have to take the top off, unconnect the cable so I can get all this out, and I've got some instructions on how to completely assemble this gimbal down so we can actually get the whole leg off. So I don't want to damage anything else on here and try and avoid as much as possible. And maybe we can get this on maybe a bench press that I can hold it really, and then just hopefully bend it back to its correct shape. So I'm going to do this in stages. So I'm going to do the video all of it, but I'm going to fast forward through all the bits so you don't get bored of me undoing all the screws and stuff. But you get to see how I do this and whether it's successful or not. If it's not successful, this will still be online for you to watch, which you'll be watching now. If it is successful, then fantastic. I saved myself over 600 quid. So thanks very much for all you guys out there commenting on there saying about where I can get spare parts from and things like that. You know, so if this doesn't go to plan, I can look at buying one second hand off eBay. But I was actually thinking saving all my money and putting it towards maybe the new Inspire 1 or maybe another Phantom Plus Vision, because I do like the Phantom Vision. And I'm doing more with this now, so I might need a second one as a backup because at the moment I'm out of the water. So let's get on with this build. Right, to move this, because you got your plastic type connections that holds it together. So it's more these little rubbery things that keeps that on top. But then you got this plastic type screw, if you want to call it that way, then stops it from actually falling out if these come away. So it's actually getting these bits off, because you can break them off, then you have to then replace them. But fortunately, I don't think I've got any spare ones. So I might have to try and take them off without breaking. So the way to do that is you've got to lift these little plastic bits up slightly with a flat screwdriver, so you can just get over the notch, and they should then just come off. So I'm going to go ahead and do that, and then you can watch how hard and difficult it is. That's one off. So literally there's the plastic bit, and that's the cap. As you can see, it hooks over. If you just bend each of the plastic ones slightly out a little bit, just enough, it should then just literally pop off its peg, and then that's the actual peg removed. But it might be worth, I mean, it's quite fiddly, but if you can't do it, if you can break it, you can buy these separately anyway. So I'm going to carry on with the others. Well, now I've got them all off. I've noticed actually on one of these pegs, because you've got 4 holds these in place. These are only safety pegs, so if the rubber bits do come loose or snap off or break in between, these keeps the gimbal on the bottom, so it doesn't actually completely fly off when it's in the air. But I actually found I actually lost one of these plastic bits on one of them. So on the crash, it bent that and lost one of the pegs, and that screw on the one of the landing bits. That's about all I lost on that. So here, be careful of these, because these are really easy to break, but I do have spares. So I would use a small screwdriver and just sort of push them down gently for each one. So push it down gently, because you can easily tear them, and they're really hard work to get back on as well. So and these two here are difficult because the middle peg's still through, because the chassis gets in the way of getting these little pegs out. So you have to sort of push that around that with a little bit in there without breaking it, and that should be intact. So I think I've got a couple spare, so if I do end up snapping them, I do have a couple spare. There you go, so that's them loose. So now you should be able to lift up the gimbal off and down, and then you should then release the connectors. So underneath there you can see the cables, and they should actually unclip out, so nice and easy. So I would and they're all different sizes, so you can't forget which one they plug into, because that's got more cables than this one, that's got less cables, so they're all different in size. So I've just got to loose them off, and be careful not to break them. They should just unclip off, hopefully. It's quite fiddly, it's like a couple of pairs of fingers to get this done. So, and holding it's the same as well, it's very fiddly. I don't want to break the cable. So squeeze and pull. Okay, you just literally squeeze that in and they should just come off then. These two slightly different. Then you just pull them up gently, ease them up, and they should come out. They're quite tightly fitted, but they are coming loose bit by bit. Careful, because you don't want to obviously bend the pins. Bit by bit, handle with care. And there we go. So the gimbal is now completely off. So I would leave them put that to one side so the cable's in the right order. So when I put the gimbal back, they actually go, so I know which way they go round. But again, you can see they are different sizes, so you can't not remember where that goes back on the gimbal here. So that's the gimbal off, and there's the bent part on there. So now I'm going to actually start removing, because what I want to do is try and get to this part here to remove it off the base. I have to be very careful because I've got this very flimsy ribbon cable in here, which is I've got to be careful, because if that snaps, you can't replace this on its own. It doesn't come separate. So I'm going to have to be very, very careful how I get that off, and I'm hoping it's actually glued. It's actually glued on that bar bit, so I'm going to have a difficult getting that off, because it looks like it's glued on it. No, it does actually, when it goes right, it is scraping on the top, but I don't know whether that's because it's bent. So it can make it awkward, so I can't remove this base then to get this off, because the ribbon cable is in the way. I don't want to prise it off because it's glued on there and it's quite sturdy. So I'm going to have to somehow see if I can get something in here to hold it tight, so I can then bend this back, hopefully. So I'm going to try and work that one out, and then when I've worked it out how I'm going to do it, we'll video it. Alright. Going to undo this, because I was thinking if the cable goes through on the arm and inside, it must detach from the circuit board, so I can actually release and pull it out. And that way, if the cable's intact, gives me a bit of a leverage to get something on it, because I can't get anything up to hold it. Why bend the other bit back? It's very, because all this is in the way. So I thought I'll remove that first to see if it is as easy as that inside. And if that's the case, then it should be quite easy to bend and get it back to its original shape. So let's take this off, see what's underneath, and I'll go from there. Got to be careful, because I want to make it what's worse, but maybe it's buggered at the end of the day, and I already had set in my mind to replace this, but I thought, no, let's go for a repair, because I've seen lots of YouTube videos on the gimbal where they've crashed it and it's just wiggled about, but I've not seen one that somebody's attempted to repair bent gimbal. They just show their gimbal being bent and that's it. There's nothing on there showing they've actually taken it apart or even attempted to repair it. But obviously the first 2 screws on this one loosens this front plate here, which I'll pull out. So that's got part of the circuit board shown underneath, as you can see. Okay, so so I think the other 2 screws makes this loose top here, which that's cool. Pulls it out. Oh, I've got to be very careful because it is actually it's pulled it apart. So I need to get that ribbon cable out from the board. Otherwise I'm going to end up pulling or snapping it, and it's also glued in the top part, so I might have to sort of somehow leave that out. So I've got to be careful. Didn't realise that actually. So, well, I'm going to try and remove that cable very carefully and see if I can get this apart without snapping anything. Well, I can see why the cable, they don't sell the ribbon cable itself. It is really flimsy, and I can't actually get off the circuit board, so I'm not sure whether it pulls out, lifts up. I've got no idea. It's very, very tiny, so I'm going to try and try and strain it like this. It's better than actually what it originally was on the on its gimbal bit anyway. So I'm going to try, so at least I can get to it now, so I've got to be very careful how I straighten this without yanking it too much that the cable snaps, because this is quite tightly connected to it. So what I might try and do, put something behind that so it doesn't, so if I do jog it, it doesn't come off in my hand. So I'm trying to work that out, and then what I might do is get this clipped onto there, pinning that down away from the cable, and then using a pair of pliers and try and bend it back to see if that actually does the trick, and then reassemble it all back, see if it works. But I've got a feeling, so I've used the flat of that moved, because it's on a sticky, that was sticky, so that actually was in the chassis here. It was actually stuck against that, so me scraping it down a bit, I think it's made an indent on the cable, so I'm hoping it hasn't broken anything in the ribbon cable itself, otherwise I've actually knackered it. So I keep my fingers crossed for that. So I'm going to try and do this, put it back. If it works, fantastic, but let's see what happens. So I'm going to get the clamps on there, and I'm going to try and straighten it, go from there. Right, I've got the mole grips on there, because it's actually the bent of it. It's not this bit here's bent. It's actually on the chassis, on this bottom section here, that's actually bent. So I've pinned this gently, very carefully, not too tight, because obviously this is very flimsy, can easily break. So I've pinned it so it just keeps it stable. I'm going to hold it really nice and tight, and I'm just going to twist that back into shape with, hopefully, with these here without the cable. So this has got to come into shape. Very, oh bloody, it's hard. I suppose it actually got out of shape in the first place. I think it's going slowly. But it's very, very tough to get this back into shape. It's very hard, because be careful not to slip or squeeze too hard and damage it. But it doesn't look like it's actually going back into shape. It is very, very difficult, very, very hard. Try one more time. This makes it a little straighter. Oh. As you can see, that's very, very difficult to do. It's sort of still not into shape. I think this needs coming over as well, because it's peeled up from here. So far, nothing's broken yet. So let's really try and re-clamp it on here. And this time we'll move this bit over, because this bit looks like it's shifted that way. So mind the cable, grab that, and just it's flattened itself down, but it's still got a bit of a twist in it. So I'm trying to work out where the twisters actually is. for it to go straight. I mean, that's... Oh. That's gone in there. Well, I'm just going to reevaluate where I've twisted it to see if... Because it's twisted in just a really weird shape. This bit here now is sort of flushed, but it's still not straight. You can do with coming that way a bit. I think when it comes that way a bit, this will straighten itself out. So it needs to come over a bit. That's what it looks like. But I've marked the sides on here. We've done the grip, more grips with it. So we'll try to do that because that's what it looks like. Just needs doing that with it. So one more attempt. I don't get the cable on that side. Nicely pinched. And I'll try one more time. So this bit that needs bending back into shape, which is proving to be quite difficult. As you can see, it keeps coming off, but I don't want to go too far down the body because it's all circuit board and cable. Right, I think I've got it straight as I can, basically, but you can see it's a lot straighter than what it was. But there's a lot of scuff marks on there. I've damaged a lot because it's quite hard to grip on there anyway. But I'm going to put that back on anyway to see if that actually does carry on working, whether it has corrected the balancing out. But it still looks very much bent. It's just sort of very twisted, but it's very difficult to get it twisted back to what it was. But I'm going to go ahead and put all that back together, and we'll see basically whether it works or not. So no, that was quite difficult to straighten. It is straightening a lot better than what it was, but I hope I haven't damaged anything around here for the middle bit to go into. Otherwise it's not going to operate properly. I managed to do it without hopefully breaking the cable, so I don't know if all the yanking about has actually done anything to the ribbon cable or not, but I've done what I can with it as it is, so we're hoping, fingers crossed, it should work. So let's see what happens. Right, I start putting this back together and it's gone so far. That's now, it's nice 3D movement, and it looks quite straight as I can get it. Looks better than what it was before. But it's also, I didn't realise there's also damage done to this motor here, because you can see there's play in it. There's a bit of play in it. So I have done more damage than I expected. So I'm hoping that there's not a lot of damage on that. So I'm going to open, what I'm going to do is unscrew these here. It should take a plate off, then there should be a circuit board behind. Then it should expose the motor, so I can see whether that's torn or knackered or whether it's just come loose. However, I can just actually tighten it up. So I'm just going to undo that and see what happens. But so far, so good. We're getting somewhere with it. So it's straightened as far as I can straighten it. But we're hoping this one here is always, if that's broken, then also we're going to be looking at definitely a new one anyway. Right, I've undone these 3 screws here, which this plate should just lift off. There you go. So there's this little plate off it. So there's the circuit board, and then obviously the motor underneath. And I think there's, yeah. So I'm going to have to undo these special screws here. Or does it just ply off? I think it just lifts off. Yeah, just lifts off. So be careful, because obviously there's a ribbon cable on that. And then there's 3 screws behind that to take off, which then takes the motor out, so I can see whether the motor's been damaged or not. So I'm just gonna undo these 3 screws here, and we'll have a look. This is off. You can see from here. I can show you what the actual motor looks like underneath. Okay. But it's loose between this chassis and this bit here, so I think looks like got some, yeah, got some magnetic, yeah. This is magnetic, goes around the rim here, and on this side here it's all broken up. That's why it's coming off. Sort of, it's wobbling basically because this is all broken off. So as it's smashed down, the motor's crashed into this little ring here. and that's actually broken that off, so it's going to be completely out of balance and out of sync when we start flying it. So I've got a feeling this is really dead, but I'll put it all back together anyway and we'll see how but I think it's going to twitch and twerch a lot, which is going to be no good for flying. So it looks like we're going to have a new gimbal replaced, unfortunately. Well, I'm going to put all this back, photograph it while it's apart so you guys can see what it looks like actually underneath it all. But yeah, it's broken, the rim's broken, that's what's causing it, and this is knackered then, unfortunately. It's a shame. Okay, put it back together. As you can see, it's back together now, all completely straight, but okay, completely straight, but unfortunately it balances alright, you can see, balances alright, but it's a noise when it goes either side of the motor at the back, but I've got a feeling that's going to fall off. As soon as it goes on, it's going to go into a spasm and then fall off. But I'm gonna ear it up to the Phantom itself. I'm not going to bolt it up, I'm just going to hold it, power it up and see what it does. I've got a feeling it's just going to jitter about, and we'll have a look. Right, here we go with the power on test to see if this actually will work. So be careful not to touch anything else while I'm powering this up because I've got no case on the top. So here we go, button in, button hold. Now she's powering up and watch what the gimbal does. It's going to go mental. It's not straightening them up. Don't like that. Yeah, so yeah, so we have, it is knackered. So that back motor is actually broken. So this part here is fine, balancing well. We got it balancing at the top there nicely now. So it's actually sort of straight as we could possibly get it. But that back motor there, which is this motor here, which brings it up, is actually knackered. The slight movement, it's just going haywire. It's struggling to move it about. So it does look like a new gimbal system for the Phantom, unfortunately. So no flying for a moment, so I'll get a new gimbal.